everybody. My name is Brian Ross, and I'm going to be presenting my final project on reading critically and reflecting on the impact it had on me throughout the semester. Here's my interpretation of a reader's response. I developed a new way of reading which really enhanced my ability to interpret each story because I would read each of them critically and with intent, which overall developed my reader's response habits. In class, we read The White Heron by Sarah Orne Jewett, and this story stuck out to me in particular, and I was able to really use my new habit of reading to the story. An example of how I was able to do so was when I was able to predict that Sylvia was not going to give up the location of the White Heron to, in her opinion, the good-looking hunter. On page 59, Sylvia's grandma said that there ain't a foot of ground she don't know her way over, and the wild creatures count her as one of themselves. And on page 62, it said that she now thought of the trade with a new excitement. So as you can tell from these two lines, she was a true nature enthusiast, and at her age, she was definitely going to choose her passion over love. Two reading strategies that I developed by reading the story, The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, that I will now incorporate into my everyday reading skills is rereading the text and making connections often throughout the story or book. After reading the story The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, I was a little confused by it, but I was able to tell that Jimmy had a big crush on this Martha woman. After two careful rereads, it became evident to me that Jimmy might have been kind of obsessed with her. Something Jimmy said often while referring to Martha was love. For instance, on page 402, the author stated that he wanted Martha to love him as he loved her. This quote made me consider that maybe it was a one-way street, and Jimmy may have loved her, but Martha was definitely not all in for him. Now, the obsessiveness comes into play on page 409, where it said he felt paralyzed, he wanted to sleep inside her blood and breathe her blood and be smothered. Now, that's a little creepy, no offense to Jimmy. So, we used a few digital tools to enhance the learning in the class, and my favorite one was blogging. And having been given the chance to blog was fantastic. Blogging is something I've always heard about but never imagined myself doing. I always thought of blogging as something moms did with recipes or about how life is going with their family, but being asked to create a blog was certainly eye-opening and extremely fun. When blogging, I started to read with more focus so that I could display only the most accurate information about the book onto my blog, which really helped enforce my reader's response skills. And on the right-hand side of the page, you can see a picture of what my blog looked like. During the semester, I was able to make some connections from our literature class to other classes that I'm taking. An example of one connection that I made was when we were asked to read The Cask of Amontillado by Edgar Allan Poe. I related my reading strategies from this class to my freshman seminar class, which is Who Owns the Past, and to my theology class. From Montresor thinking about killing Fortunato to Luther stealing artifacts, which happened in my freshman seminar class, to theologians with different theories in theology. I had to sit down and question why each of those people did what they did, and I started to further question their intentions. And by doing that, I started to understand what they were all about. One challenge that I faced during the semester was when we read the story The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. My struggle came when the text got extremely lengthy and it turned me off from reading. On page 406, he listed a bunch of guns, which I listed on the right-hand side of the page. And I was able to get back on track by just staying focused and using my new habit of critically reading to use the text to understand the story better. My favorite memory of the class was when I decided to read with intent rather than to just complete assignments. I would have been able to complete assignments with just reading the story once, yes, but the decision I made helped to further expand my mind and the way I think. I was able to read stories like 2 or 3 times, and it gave me a much broader understanding of what was going on. My aha moment was that deep down inside, I really love reading. But over the past few years, I had not picked up a book with the intent of finishing it and actually wanting to read it. I usually just read magazines, but for me to pick up a book on my own time, it was great. And here's a picture of me enjoying the book that I blogged about it, just in case some haters say it's fake. Reading is truly an enjoyable activity, and I will now be making it a priority of mine to start reading in my free time to expand my horizon and my knowledge.